everything is so tactical and thought out. It's not a short circuit. You can just ride fast and make a pass. You're like stood up off the seat. In a lot of the other areas, you've got 90% of your weight through your pegs. John's really like sort of taken me under his wing over the last, say, 5 years or 6 years, and like give me so much advice. I look up to him so much. When you do the Isle of Man TT, it changes you, and you feel like you don't love anything the same again.
Welcome back to Donington Park. Welcome back to Completely Motorbikes Kawasaki's rooftop hospitality garden. In this episode, we sit down with one of short circuit and road racing's brightest young talent ahead of the TT 2024. That's Davey Todd. This is Off Track, the motorcycle racing podcast.
Davey Todd, Cheshire Mouldings, BMW. How are you, mate? Nice to see you.
Yeah, I'm good, mate. How can I not be? We're at a racetrack. I'm living the dream. So yeah, fantastic.
Pole position this morning, as we are at Donington right now for round 2 of the National Superstock Championship. Mm-hmm. You're going well on that BMW in the Superstocks, mate.
Yeah, absolutely loving it. Really, really enjoying riding the BMW. Feel like I've gelled with the bike super well. This year, I know I rode it a couple of times last year on the Superbike, but after a bit more time in the off season, preparing and learning to understand the bike a little bit better, I really feel like it plays to my strengths, and as I say, really like it. Back down in Superstock, which I don't necessarily like that, but it's good, and the bike's competitive. It's really good. The team around me are really good, so I'm happy with all of that, and everything just seems to be going in the right direction at the moment.
We spoke to Philip at the Northwest, and he explained the situation that the year didn't start the way it ended in terms of the run. We'll get this bit done and dusted, and we can go through the racing side of things. But for the listeners and viewers that maybe weren't aware, something else was on the table at the end of last season. Things change. Philip explained that he was disappointed to have to make the decision, but it was a decision that had to be made, unfortunately. Yeah.
So basically, like what you're getting at is that I was signed to be a superbike rider this season, and that's what I was desperate to do. I had technically my first season, even though I did 5 rounds. My first season in superbike last year. Things didn't really go as planned, and was really unfortunate, really. And then swapping teams midway through the year is never a good situation. But in the same breath, left things really good. I want to clear up the fact that I left things really good with Padgett and Clive. They give me opportunity when nobody else would. It was only a couple of years ago, before the 2022 season, when I was literally going around begging all the teams for a ride, because I was desperate to be in British Championship on short circuit, and everybody just said, just stick to road racing because that's what you're good at. You're not a short circuit rider. And I was like, but I haven't had a chance at short circuit. If I get a chance, I'll prove to people I can do this as well. And in 22, Clive gave me the opportunity. He said, okay, we'll do it. We'll do our best. And we did Superstock and came in for what really was my first season in BSB in any class, and we won the championship. Since then, last year tried to make that move up to the superbike class, and I think we all underestimated what it takes to be in superbike, and the budget. The biggest thing is the budget involved in being in superbike, and Padgett still always have been and still are a family-run team, and they're spending a lot, if not all, of their own money on going racing, and they do a fantastic job with what they have, genuinely fantastic. And I love all the guys. Everybody in the team is like family there, but didn't just quite have what it takes to be competitive in superbike. And Clive understood that and always said he would support me if there was a better option for me on the table. He would support me, drive me there, and still help me. And he did just that. He said, it's a good option what you have. I told him what I had the option of a BMW on the plate, and he supported my decision, and we're still really good friends to this day. So made the move across, did the last couple of rounds in Superbike, which is going to be difficult. Jumping on a new bike, not only a new bike, a Superbike, and new team and everything. So did the last couple of rounds and done the deal to be a superbike rider for this season. So I was all amped up preparing for that. I spent the whole off season racing in New Zealand, training in Spain pre-season, and then we became the situation that I actually wasn't able, for whatever reason, the situation had to change, and I wasn't going to be the superbike rider in the team anymore, and I had already really the option of moving down to Superstock again. Of course, that really frustrated me because that's not what I came here to do. I want to be a road racer, I want to win TTs, but also I want to be at the top of British Championship, if not further beyond. But yeah, so it's sort of frustrating in that sense. But after I sort of sit and deal with it, it's as it is. There's nothing I can do about it right now. All I can do is the best with what I've got. So we're in Superstock, and I'm here to prove a point. I'm really here to prove a point this year that I deserve that superbike seat. And every round I do feel like I don't know the best way. I've got like a B in my bonnet.
That's fair.
I've got a point to prove every session that I shouldn't be in Superstock, I should be in Superbike, and try my best to prove that. Like today, you said we just qualified on pole in Superstock. My time would have put me in the top 8 in free practice in Superbike, and it would actually put me in the top 10 for on the grid after qualifying, Superbike qualifying. So that's on a stocker. So I feel like I'm making my way to prove my point a little bit, that I deserve that seat next year, that Superbike seat. And yeah, as I say, I'm just trying to make the best of the situation with what we've got now.
It's quite, for want of a better word, it's a mature thing to do, because it kind of would have been easy to spit your dummy and disappear off and do something else. And I think it's a sign of where you are as a person and as a rider, to go, do you know what? I'm not chuffed about this, and I'm going to be annoyed for a little bit of time, but looking at the bigger picture, looking at what you're going to do with the stocker this year, looking at the roads, looking at the Northwest with the Ducati, with the Power Toolmate, I was right. Power Toolmate Ducati, and with the Milwaukee BMW as well. It's the opportunity, I think, now that you're ready for. You said about Padgett's and the family team, they've served you well. You've had some fantastic results. You've learned a lot. 23 didn't go the way you hoped as 22 did. But this year now, I'm a big fan of planets aligning.
Yes, mate. It's exactly that. Things have fallen into place. As I say, I'm out to prove a point on short circuits, but on the roads as well a little bit. I know I've gone well at the Northwest and stuff before, and I got my first podium in 22 at the TT, which was amazing. And then the TT last year was actually a complete nightmare, not because of my fault or the team's. We were just so unlucky at the wrong times. The first races, we had bike problems, bike issues, and the team worked so hard to solve them. And then at the end of race week, I got a really bad virus and was super ill, and that ruined basically the end of race week for me. So I say really unlucky with that, but I still feel like I've got so much more to give on the roads than what's possible, and especially with the start to this season that we've had, how well I've gelled with the BMW and the team, that on the back of the Northwest that we've just had, if we didn't win the race, we battled for the win. Basically, obviously got cleaned out in the first Supersport race, but won the second Supersport race, won both Superstock races, and battled to the end for the win with Glenn Irwin in all 3 Superbike races. Just sets us up in a really, really good position. I felt so comfortable on all them bikes. I wasn't at my limit. I wasn't scratching. I wasn't taking risks. I was very much within myself, and that leads us into a really nice place for the TT. And honestly, I'm just so excited to. I know we've got a race tomorrow, but I can't wait to get on that boat on Tuesday and get out to the Isle of Man.
I know when we will come on to the Northwest shortly, but do you remember as off track as it is now, who was the first ever video show we ever did? Who was it?
I don't know.
I'm looking at him.
Oh, was it me?
Yeah. You were the first. You were the first one we ever did, recording wise. And
Favourites.
pick your favourites. Yeah, of course. Outside the old hospitality unit of the TT in 22, and you were so excited for it. You were so buzzing to be back on the island, and the same with Sam West, who was on later on. The intensity and the love that you have for that place, it really shines through, and the energy, you can feel it when you sat next to him and you start talking about the TT.
It happens all year round. That, like, as soon as someone asks you and starts asking a few questions about the TT, you just can't not get excited. It's a whole different. I love riding any bike, and I say this all the time. Any bike in the world. I love my motocross, my supermoto. Love riding any bikes, 2 wheels and an engine, fantastic. Or even without an engine.
Yeah.
But when you do the Isle of Man TT, it changes you, and you feel like you don't love anything the same again, and it sort of ruins. It doesn't ruin it, but once you've had that much of a buzz, that much of the adrenaline, the emotions, everything is amplified by a million at the TT, that when you come back from the TT, everything just seems so normal, so plain, and it does come back, that sort of buzz. But when we go to Knock Hill straight after the TT, I'm always nervous. You get nervous on the grid before a race, and excited nerves, and you get all that, the adrenaline builds, and you that feeling before a race. Knock Hill, you don't get it at all. You literally, I try and get myself excited, and I just can't. My body's feels like a tractor. Feels like I'm sat on the grid at a tractor when you're at Knock Hill, because you've just come straight back from the TT, and you're just your body just can't get it going the same. It's so hard to explain, but it's in that TT blues. And even round here, I said to the boys, genuinely in FP1 on Friday, I thought there was a problem with my bike, and the only way that I knew there wasn't, I came in and looked at the speed traps and was like, oh really, we're first or second in the speed traps. I was literally about to come in and say to the boys, there's a problem with my bike, it must be running on 3 cylinders, because you're only doing 160, 170 miles an hour.
It's about your top line around here, isn't it?
Round here, we're just on the back of the northwest, where we're sat at over 200 mile an hour all the time around a lap, that we literally feel like we're going around here at walking pace. It's so weird. I felt in free practice like I was on a 600. It just felt like it had no power, the bike, at all, which it obviously did, but your brain adjusts to go in that speed, that when it brings back just a little bit, you feel like you want to sort of get off it and give it a little bit of a push down the straight at 120 mile an hour, It's weird.
We'll come on to the TT a little bit more shortly, but we'll talk about the Northwest scene, as that's the most recent event that we've been to. And it was a fantastic week weather-wise. Everything worked out beautifully in terms of weather. Thursday night was a little bit difficult. We were about 10 feet from you when you came to rest in that barrier, and that could have had catastrophic consequences for the rest of the season.
Yeah, that was so nearly a season ender, at least a season ender, The boys actually said to me after, where his bike hit mine was about that much, I don't know what that is.
That's 20, about 6 inches, that's
20 centimetres. And what are you laughing for? Anyway,
metric and
not very much.
Yeah, exactly.
Below my footrest on the bike was where his bike hit the frame swing arm of Magicati with massive force, that it smashed all in the side of the bike. And they're like, if he'd have hit that much higher, that'd have been my ankle that it'd have took the impact, and that wouldn't have been in good shape. This speed, I'm sure everybody's seen, but the speed that he hit me at was a lot faster than I was going, and it wouldn't have been good. My ankle for sure would have been in a couple of million bits right now. So that would have definitely been the TT missed and BSB season ruined, if not the rest of the season. So I was frustrated, but took the positives from it. That could have been so much worse, and honestly, I thought my hand was ruined. I was in the recovery vehicle on the way back to the pits, and I thought I was finished. To be honest, I thought there's no way that I can ride now. My hand was in a lot of pain, my thumb specifically, in a lot of pain, and my legs, I was struggling to bend my legs, either of them at all. By the time I got back to the pits, I didn't really know what to do. I just tried to sit and compose myself for a minute, which you don't really have a minute at the Northwest. You've got about 5 of them to change your leathers out the Ducati leathers into the BMW leathers, and the bike was already sat on the grid, on pole position for the Superstock race. So I just composed myself, and the guys said, "Are you in a lot of pain?" I said, "Yes, my thumb's really hurting," and they said, "Can you do this? Can you do that?" And I couldn't actually even unzip my leathers or take my gloves off or anything, because I had no strength like grip. Yeah, not grip strength, but with my thumb and my finger,
like pinching strength.
Anything that you need to do that for, I couldn't do anything. So in my mind, you have to grip onto the handlebar. So I was like, no way am I going to be able to ride a bike round here now, without even thinking about my legs then. But me, I don't like taking things like lying down or ever saying that I can't do something, as we seen at the TT last year when I could barely walk. I couldn't really see straight. I was that ill, and I said to the boys, I have to try and race, and I actually finished the senior and finished in P9, which is pretty rubbish for me. But like, I can't sit out things. Like, it's not in my nature to sit by the sidelines and not try my best. Like, I always try give my 100%, and not trying is not giving 100%. No.
But to do that off the Supersport, so you did the Superbike race first, then you on to the Supersport, so you got 5 minutes in between that. The Northwest is a pretty brutal schedule. After you've been practicing and qualifying all day on the Thursday, to have that happen and then to be wheeled straight out onto the grid for the Superstock race, what's going through your mind at that point?
So I honestly didn't know. I just didn't know if it was going to be okay to ride. Like, I thought probably not, but I thought the only way to find out is actually try. And the guys, honestly, and all respect to them, all my team was saying, probably don't think it's a good idea. We'll sit it out. Want the best for you. Don't want you to hurt yourself. Everything else. And I said, I've got to try. I've got to have a go. And they're like, are you sure? Like, don't do it if you're not okay. Like, and they were really good in that sense. But I said, I've got to try. All I can do is try, and they helped me get my leathers on, tie my helmet and my gloves out. All I couldn't do myself. It sounds stupid. And got me dressed and ready. And I sat on the bike thinking, it's not going to be good. And went out for the warm-up lap, and man, it hurt, but it didn't affect me in such a way that I thought I can't ride. Like, my legs were really sore, but I could squat. It was just really painful when I put pressure through my legs. But I thought the adrenaline will get going, and it'll help with that. And my hand, I was worried I wasn't going to be able to pull the brake lever or maneuver myself on the bike, which is grip strength. But that didn't really come into it. I could still hold on to the handlebar with my hand and my fingers. My thumb was just sort of there, but it doesn't. Sort of made me realise that your thumb doesn't really do a whole lot, especially on your right hand, unless you've got a thumb brake on your left hand.
Yeah.
It doesn't do a lot. Like, it can hang there, and it sort of still holds you on the thing, and it putting pressure through my hand under braking and acceleration was through my hand and not actually where the pain was. So the pain was a little bit more, but pretty much the same as when I was not riding. So I thought it'll be all right. Like, I'll have a go. I had pace in hand on the stocker, so I thought if I can ride round steady, I might still get on the podium or what. I didn't really think about it. I just thought I'll try my best and see what I can do. And went out whole shotted and led every lap and won, which the first few laps I took really steady and was just like, I'd feel my way out, because I didn't want to have a little moment on the bike, a little wiggle or something you often get on the roads, and it really hurt my hand where then I wasn't in control. So I wanted to feel it out first to make sure it was okay and I wasn't going to have a freak accident. And sure enough, it felt okay. So then after a few laps, I thought, okay, I can push the pace on a little bit more, and got a little bit of a gap. And then I was so relaxed. My heart rate has never been so low, I think, in a race, just because I was like more composed than normal, just because I was
more
thinking
aware
of being smooth and
yeah,
I don't know, not thinking about the normal things you think about when you ride a bike. So it was weird and really calm, and then obviously pretty sore, but I thought at least if I get this one out the way, I've got Friday, a day off, hopefully I can do something to improve it, and we'll see on Saturday. But yeah, just to get that win I felt pretty special after what we'd just sort of gone through, nearly a season ender, to win a race around the Northwest.
For want of a better phrase, you look bollocksed by the time you'd finished that Superstock race. Because we were down there at the podium to watch it, because we were absolutely delighted for you, especially after seeing what we'd seen at the other end, and then all of a sudden we're back up there for that. I guess, not ever ridden it, only driven around it in the car, I guess by the time you kind of get to university and round the Magic Roundabout, you are fully aware of what physical condition you're in. So half a lap, you're going to kind of know whether you can or you can't. Yeah,
100%. It doesn't take long around that place, and then you come out the roundabout, Ballysally roundabout, and the road down there is so bumpy. It's like the bumpiest I've ever had it at the Northwest. That we could do with a bit of resurfacing, but I always stand up all the way down that straight, and it was something that I really struggled with, and it hurt so much just standing up in them sections where there was a lot of bumps, and the bike would actually get out of control if you didn't stand up. So I had to do it every lap. It was like in them areas was literally like gritting my teeth and trying to stand up through the like pain of that. And when I come into Parc Fermé at the end of the race, and it was just like a relief of like I don't have to do another lap of that pain in my legs, really.
Thankfully, it was only 4 laps, thankfully.
Yeah, my hand wasn't so bad, but the legs were pretty.
I remember you saying to me, I remember you telling me before and explaining about that down the Flying Kilo, down to university, back up through the chicanes on the other side to Portrush, the roads are that bumpy. You are like a jockey. You're up on the pegs and letting the bike just ride the bumps as it goes along.
Yeah, it's 100% that. It's it looks to a camera like you sat down, but like 95% of the weight is through your legs. And actually from Ballysally to Mathers chicane, it's fully stood up. Like, I'm not on the seat because the bike's like bucking up and down so hard that it actually hurts if it hits you on the butt. So you're like stood up off the seat. In a lot of the other areas, you've got 90% of your weight through your pegs, and yeah, you are sat down, but there's like no real weight through that. So it's like, I always tell people when I'm doing like a bit of ride intuition and stuff like that, your weight's always through your pegs. Like, that's how you control the bike. It's how you steer the bike. It's not on the handlebars. It's actually through your footrest. So that's so hard to do when your legs are hurting like hell, to be honest.
I have notes. I can't imagine. It was an incredible sort of night on Thursday, but to then go into Saturday with 2 Superstock races, 2 Superbike races. 2
Superbike. Started with a Superbike, then had a Supersport, Superstock, and another
Superbike. That was it. It's a relentless, like we said before, a relentless schedule. And again, top of the box. You're top of the box or second in every race you contested.
Yeah.
And by every race you finished, I apologise. We know Supersport wasn't your fault. I still don't understand how that happened. Probably neither do you. Tell me about the superbike races, because watching them, excuse me, we know you really well, we're friends, I know Glenn really well, we're friends with him. It's watching two guys at the top of their game kind of trying everything to get that win on the big bike, on the superbike. And just that juniper chicane, it's like, go on. Oh, it's not quite there. It's like he's done it again. And because Glenn only did two races, did the superbike classes.
Yeah.
So he only had one bike to concentrate on.
Yeah.
With you having the stocker, the super sport, and the superbike. But what was it like from the pilot seat with those three superbike races with Glenn?
All in all, frustrating.
Yep.
But we were both on the back of wins at Alton Park. I won Superstock and he won all three on the superbikes. I knew he was going to be strong and carrying a whole lot of confidence coming into the Northwest. And he's a confident character anyway. I'm good mates with Glenn, and his confidence is never his weakness, you know. Coming in, I knew that it would be me and Glenn battling. I didn't know if some other people would be in the battle, but after qualifying, was pretty sure that it was only me and Glenn. Like, there would be no one else really in the mix. We sort of unlocked how comfortable I was on the bike. The team have literally built a engine how I want it at the superbike, which is, believe it or not, less power than the first engine they put in the superbike. The characteristics of that engine I actually didn't like when I rode in Spain, and said to the guys, however crazy it sounds, I don't like it, and it's too much at the top, not enough at the bottom, and a few other things. And my awesome guys been as good as they are. Stuart, my crew chief, said, okay, I'll build you an engine how you're saying you want it. So I'm like, awesome, okay. Like, I've never had that before in my life, but yeah, that sounds awesome. And we didn't get a chance to test it because we had really bad electrical issue at Alton Park when we were meant to test the bike. So literally the first time properly riding my superbike was at the Northwest, literally in qualifying at the Northwest. And I loved it. They built me just the bike that I wanted, and a lot of people, it sort of made us all laugh as a team, because so many people talked about how well Dean did, and not taking anything away from Dean, how well Dean did on a stocker in the superbike class. Yeah. Well, my bike actually is a stocker. It's just got like a halfway house engine that's like, it's not the full 7.2 superbike motor. It's actually returned a lot of the parts more stock, because I really love the stock characteristic. And the full chassis is a Superstock bike. So the only difference is it has a slight bit of more work to the engine, but like very slight. But what they've done is suits me and suits my riding style, and everything is how I wanted it. So how the bike worked was perfect for me, because I had a stocker and a superbike that were the same. Like the same bike, the superbike just went a couple of miles an hour faster. and yeah, I knew it was going to be me and Glenn in the battle. I knew that Ducati is really strong in every championship anywhere around the world. That V4 Ducati is strong. But also I was so happy with my package and thought, we'll see what we can do. And don't get me wrong, I was frustrated on Thursday when we had the battle, but we showed what pace is possible, and for sure there's a bit more possible. And we did 4:16s, like that's sort of unheard of. It was like 18s, 19s, 20. There was one 18, I think, and then we'd done 19s before, me and Glenn. So to drop that pace to that, we were going at some good pace and battling, and it's so mental also battling at that pace. It's not just going as fast as you can on a qualifying lap. You're also thinking it's still a road race, or I'm still thinking it's still a road race, and around the Northwest, it's, I don't know where to put it, but everything is so tactical and thought out. It's not a short circuit. You can just ride fast and make a pass. Like, if you do that at the Northwest, you just get slipstreamed down the next straight. Yeah. So everywhere you have to hit your marks perfectly, make sure you get good runs onto the straights, be strong on the brakes. And we played around with each other a lot. I led most of the laps, I think, until the last lap I think Glenn passed me, and I sort of kicked myself really because I just tried to set a good pace at the front. I did the 4:16s and Glenn followed me, and I felt like I gave away a little bit too much of what I was capable of.
Yeah.
Because he just sat behind me, worked me out, and passed me on the last lap and won the race. And I sort of kicked myself when I came in, and the team said the same thing. You know, you sort of let him line you up for 3 or 4 laps, and then he got you worked out. So I didn't want to do the same thing again. Going into Saturday, knew the race was going to be more tactical. So the pace actually slowed down with that, because I didn't push the pace on to 4:16s. I sort of let him lead, but he didn't really want to give away too much to me. So he let me lead, and we still ended up with a bit of a gap, but definitely nowhere near as much as we did on the Thursday. But it's just because we were both basically going, no, go on after you. Like, you go first and let me work you out. And that's actually how the last 2 races went. And I managed it in a way that in the race 2, the first one on Saturday, that I thought, I've got this worked out. I'm so strong on the course road. It's definitely the place where I'm strongest around the Northwest. He was strong in different areas, but I thought, I can do it into Juniper. I should have done it into Juniper on the first race, but I chose the outside. It was I expected him to go really defensive, and he didn't go as defensive as I expected. But I'd already made my decision to go outside, and I was alongside him a little bit. So it was never going to happen around the outside, but I had to have a go at it. So then I thought, the next one, I'll get the run in the same place. Sorry about that.
Sorry?
I'll get the run in the same place, and I sat behind enough that he didn't have loads of time behind me. So I thought, I've got it worked out. Last 2 laps, I just sat behind, didn't go in front at all. So I was like, I know where I can do it, and he doesn't really know what to expect or where to expect it. And unfortunately, just as luck would have it, caught a back marker just going into Juniper and forced us both to go really tight. And I actually I was really close with a back marker going in as we caught him just at the last second. So it's just unlucky that. And I can't say, yes, I would have definitely done it, but I would have had a go.
You're a racer, that's what you're supposed to do.
Planned it to be and everything else. So I might have had a go and run wide or whatever else. I'm not sure, but that happened. And then the last race, to be honest, I was pretty fried. All round, I was hurting. I was tired. I was feeling it. I actually went back to my camper because that was the first time in Saturday you get a break. They have a Super Twin race.
Yeah.
So I was like, run back, get a cold shower, eat something, because I'd not ate all day. Because you can't, when you got 5 minutes in between each race, you can't eat nothing. Like, I tried to eat some Haribos actually after one race, and I was chewing it. I can't swallow when there's nerves and everything going on. I'm like, you can't eat. When I'm at BSB, I eat 2 hours before, so you got time to digest it and everything else. So I couldn't eat. So at this point, I'm like drained and tired and hurting, and just thinking, I'm not going to be any use to even challenge him in this last race. And went back, got a bit more energy in me, and I was feeling a bit better, and thought, I've just got to have a go, wherever I do it. And hats off to him in that last race. I tried my best, passed in places where I didn't think I could pass, and just couldn't make it happen. Just didn't have it in that last race. Again, we did the same thing and really slowed the pace down, because we were both just playing this tactical game of who wants to follow who. And we're both, if we'd have gone at that pace, tyres would have really come into it. If we'd have gone at the pace of what we could do at them 16s or more, tyres would have definitely come into play, which it's always a dangerous game, sort of bringing it into that. I actually ran a harder tyre than Glenn ran, the harder compound. He ran the softer one. So at times you think, if I push it on more, he should have more issues, but then is my bike better on tyres or worse than his, and we're going to be in the same boat? There's so much to think about, and it's easier to just play the tactical game and I don't want tyres to come into it around the Northwest. Nobody wants tyre issues around there. And we didn't have, at the pace we were running, we were just playing this game, and just, he had the best of me. I thought, if I line it up again, I'll go earlier this time. I considered McAvoy, and then I said, no, Metropole is the spot. And I just didn't get the good enough drive out of McAvoy down to Metropole, and I was sort of kicking myself. I just was that little bit off making a lunge into Metropole, and I thought, I can't do it there. And knew we were both strong on the course road, considered into Black Hill, but it would have been dangerous. I think I could have made a move there, but knowing how Glenn is, he's fully committed how he rides, and I think if he'd have seen me throw a wheel up the inside at Black Hill, he'd have just tipped in over me, and that's bad for us both. I thought
it's not a place to do that.
It's such a risky place, I think.
Sorrymate.com are specialist motorcycle accident solicitors that have decades of experience dealing with all types of motorbike accident claims. They know that having the right person represent you with your motorcycle accident claim can make a huge difference in all aspects of your journey to recovery that follows any motorbike accident. Sorrymate.com is run by bikers for bikers. I know the team well. They're genuinely great people who really care about their clients. Head to sorrymate.com to find out how the team can help you, or just click the link in the description below.
I could have passed a lot of people there, but Glenn is also strong on the brakes like myself, and he's, as I say, he's committed. So I didn't want to make a move there, even if I'd have gone up the inside and pushed him wide and he'd have ran off the track and crashed. I don't think I could live with that. I couldn't live with that, really. It's not on a road race. No. So and then after that, he knew then, he sort of knew the game plan. He's obviously watched the races back, and as I did, and knew that I was really strong into Juniper, so he went super defensive into Juniper, and I couldn't do anything.
Not a lot you can do. It was a tough one to watch.
Yeah.
Tough one to watch. He's just like, just one race. Just one race. It's his forte, the Superbike class. We know that.
Yeah.
And they've done a great job with the Hager PBM Ducati team to get him there and to be on the grid at all this season. So it's kind of like, yay. Oh, exactly what Glenn was like with his 130 lap. Did I get it? No. It's like, oh, okay. One last thing on the Northwest 200, sharing the podium with John.
One of the best podiums I've ever had in my life. Genuinely, it's the nicest thing, because for the last 5-6 years now, maybe, I can't even remember how long, but as everybody does, but I couldn't have more respect for John and what he's done over his career, and I'm really good mates with John and all his family. They are like a second family to me, and John's really sort of taken me under his wing over the last, say, 5 years or 6 years, and give me so much advice. I look up to him so much and what he's done. So in all areas of racing, on track, off track, he's gave me so much invaluable advice that couldn't come from anyone better. And I remember over the years we've sort of talked about getting on the podium together somewhere and how good it'd be, and he's had a couple of good races here and there where he's been close, and we've said, we might be on the podium together here, and it's just not happened. And it was just so cool. I was happier for him than I was for myself, genuinely. I think everybody's seen my reaction when I come into Pat Firmin, chatting to the guys and saying, it was a good race, the bike was mega, everything else. And I think my mechanic Denver actually just pointed like that, behind me, and I'm like, what? And turned around and see John there with a big smile on his face and pulling into third spot in Parc Fermé behind me. It was just awesome. Such a cool feeling, and to get to share the podium with him was something special, something I'll never forget. And I hope it happens again. Don't get me wrong, I hope it happens again, and I wouldn't write it off.
No.
TT's John's forte, not the Northwest, and for him to be on the podium there, stuff has to happen. Sure it did, but he was right there. he was right there, you know, like you have to be right there, and you never know what might happen. And I've said to people for years, don't write John off, and everybody's like, oh, I'm not sure, and I'm like, don't write him off. He's not lost the passion for it. That's the fastest he's ever gone at the Northwest.
Yeah.
That's the fastest he's ever gone. Like, that's faster than he's gone in the prime of his career when he was smoking everyone everywhere. Like, he isn't going slow. Like, he's riding really well at the moment. I think he's feeling good. He's in a good place, and yeah, I'd love to be on the podium at the TT with him. I think that would be the only thing to top it, really. But
you never know, do you? Like you say,
you never.
Planets align. You have no idea what's going to happen at that TT coming up. No idea at all. It'd be lovely to see you back on the podium with him there again.
Yeah.
And get you back on the podium as well, which would be fantastic.
100%.
We've got John later on. We've got half an hour with him later.
Brilliant.
And I'm just so lucky. We've never had him on the show before.
Yeah.
So I'm equally excited and nervous at the same time. I don't get starstruck too often.
Yeah.
But that one's going to be a sweaty interview. I don't mind admitting that.
Yeah. I think everybody's the same, aren't they?
Yeah, I think so. He holds himself in that regard, and people hold him in such regard. He holds himself so well in the paddock. It's so cool to see it. Right, let's talk about the TT, Davey Todd. I absolutely put that down there. The place is magical. There's no doubt about it. The Northwest is great. It's a fantastic week. The weather was brilliant. The people are great. The scenery is great. Everything about the Northwest is great. The TT has a completely different feel to it. The intensity is ramped up tenfold.
More than that.
If not more.
More than that.
What's your approach now? Once the Donington weekend is finished and you've done your job this weekend, what does the preparation look like heading towards first practice next week? Later next week.
Yeah, so there's not really preparation wise a whole lot for me to do. I just keep on my training regime and stuff like that. But I'm actually on the boat Tuesday, so actually going over to John's on Monday, I think, and catch up with John and spend a bit of time with those guys, and before heading to the boat on Tuesday, and it's a lot of work for my guys, to be honest. That's the biggest job that there is. Those guys are straight from Alton, straight to the Northwest, straight here, straight to the TT, and re-prepping all the bikes every time. And they'll have some prep work to do. They'll have a lot of work on, but I have so much faith in those guys that they've been so good so far. Give me bikes that I've never been able, certain issues that I've had to ride with almost my whole career, that I just almost learned to deal with those issues because I thought there's no way of actually solving them. These guys this year have actually solved those issues, so it's just, as I say, more comfortable than I've ever been on a bike, happier than ever. Like, everything's just working so well. So I'm just so excited to set off down Bray Hill. Like, I'm counting the days, I'm counting the hours. Like,
it's bigger than Christmas.
Like,
this is your Christmas and birthdays and everything all the time.
Everything. There's no other way of describing it. Like, and I love being here. I love racing at BSB. But this weekend especially, I'm not going to lie, I'm thinking about the TT. It's just like, I just want to get there. I just want to get to the TT. Like, just get this out of the way. And like, I was buzzing to set pole earlier today, but I'm like, yeah, sound, like, let's get the race done. Let's get it over with. Let's get on the boat.
Get me on the boat.
You know, like, let's go. So I'm excited about this, but yeah.
Same three classes? Ducatians?
Four classes.
Oh, because you got Super Twin.
Super Twin, Daffenbett.
Super Twin as well with Danny Horn and the boys.
Yeah.
You had a run out at Croft not so long back.
Yeah, I got the first and only run out. All it needs, really. That bike's been around for a long time. Not that exact bike, but that team building Super
Yes.
Twin.
Well covered. I knew what you meant, but well covered.
And the Daffenbett RC Express team know how to build a Super Twin. They've won a bunch of races in that class at the TT. They're on the podium there with Josh Brooks last year. So I have no excuse, really. Like, I've got a good bike. It feels like a good bike. Like, it does everything I want it to well. It's so hard to tell with the Super Twin. Honestly, I rode it round at Croft on a track day. Felt awesome, but until you get side by side with another Super Twin, one of the biggest names in the game in lightweight racing is how fast is it. And if it's fast enough, you'll go well. If it's not, you won't. So you're not going to do nothing around the TT on a Super Twin if it's not a fast bike. So I'm sure it is. I've seen it before, and the results speak for themselves. So as I say, excited about getting on all bikes. I'm going to have a hectic schedule, but that's how I like it. So
You don't like a lot of time in between. You don't like waiting, do you?
No.
You are the most active, most, I don't know, what's the word I'm looking for? Probably active is probably the best one. You never stand still.
Never. No, not for 2 minutes. It's not for me. I'm bored very quickly, and I enjoy everything so much that I think that helps the situation. Like, so many guys, like, see, less so in road racing, but BSB, a lot of guys, I see them walking around with a serious face on, like, treating it like it's a 9 till 5, like it's a job. Like, I tell people all the time, like, I get to do this as my job, but it isn't a job. Like, I'm living the dream. Like, I'm living the thing I dreamed about my entire life. This is above and beyond that. So, like, I try and remind myself of that all the time and just be like, this is class. Like, I get to race bikes around all day. Like, that's cool. So whenever I get a day off, you know what I'm doing? I'm riding a motorbike somewhere, somehow, like riding motocross or mountain biking or something. Like, it's all the things that keep me fit, but I genuinely I love it all. Like, I love any extreme sports and stuff like that, and doing something all the time. I go into the weird little hole when I don't do stuff. I discovered that years ago. So when everybody at the end of BSB season is like, oh, can't wait for off season, it's been a long season, everything else, I'm like, I'm going racing somewhere. And like I did last year, I went to, basically left the last round, went straight to Macau, straight from Macau to New Zealand to do a summer series, but it's winter for us, summer for them. In New Zealand, did 3 races over there, come back. Within a week of me being back in the UK, I packed my van with my motocross bike, my practice BMW, 2 bicycles and a snowboard, and drove to Spain and spent nearly 2 months in Spain. I had to come back and forward for different obligations and stuff, but just riding every day, flat out, whatever it may be, whether it was mountain biking, road cycling, motocross. I'm just doing something because I'm living the dream.
It's 100%. What did Wick call you at Alton Park? Swiss Army rider.
Yeah.
Give him a bike, he'll ride anything.
That's it. And like, it's how I've always been. Like, I couldn't not enjoy any of them. It's brilliant. Like, people like tempt me with a good time. You know what I mean? There was someone walking around the paddock at Alton Park actually with a skateboard, and they were like, oh, I was like, oh, what skateboard is it and stuff like that. He's like, oh, do you want to go? Thinking I wouldn't. And I'm like, yeah, absolutely.
It's Kyle from Fan Merch.
That was
He's
it,
got a longboard, hasn't he?
So I was like, spent half an hour ripping around on his longboard, and
he was so excited. You absolutely made his year doing that. He's like, Davey Todd's ridden my skateboard. That's so cool. He was absolutely made up. But something like that's different. He goes around the circuit on that.
Yeah.
And that's his thing.
He asked me, he said, do you want to borrow it? And I was like, you know what? I better not here. I'm pretty sore still from the Northwest, and I would love to go down Carena on a longboard. I think that'd be sick. But while I'm feeling like I am, and with TT next week, that is the worst idea possible. So I'm like, please do not give me that. Even when I asked for it.
But the fact it was a semi-consideration, it's like, do you know what? I could probably do that.
I'd love to.
However,
after the when we come back to Donington later this year,
September, I'm filming that.
I'm going down.
You tell us, we're going to film that. We're having all of that.
I put my leathers on and everything to be safe.
Like the old downhill.
Yeah, because they actually with the
windsuits and the helmets and everything.
When they race on the longboards and stuff, they wear like leathers, don't they?
Like rubber suits. And
yeah, I'll do that.
Big long streamlined helmets like the old cycling limbs and stuff like that. Mate, this is, I'm so grateful for your time. You know I love spending time with you, mate. It's such good fun. The energy is brilliant. But
thanks for having me.
Pleasure.
I've been here.
Anytime, especially in our little...
Talking about motorbikes.
He's sitting here talking about motorbikes and having a grin on your face, isn't it? What's not to love? And but in the same way as you, we're doing this now, and it's living the dream.
Yeah.
You do what you do on a motorcycle. I could never do that. But to do this, for me, with you and Jennifer behind the camera, this is living the dream. It's the same principle. It's just
Donington Park, the sun's
shining.
Like,
we're in an air-conditioned filming studio that we have.
things are like you put in, like you're the same. You put in tons of work into this, and at times you think this is stressful, and then you go, hold on, you know what? I could go to work in a 9 till 5, and when you like clock off. You ain't got to worry about anything more, and you're like, hell no, I don't want that.
Thank you.
You're like, this is sick. Like,
Thank you. It is. It's a lifestyle. It's a lifestyle. We work hard on it, and the viewers and the listeners are more and more aware of that. That we kind of do everything. We do all the editing. We do all the sourcing of the guests and the questions, and we do everything to it. But there's so many people now that are enjoying what we do and understanding how we do it, why we do it, and the passion that we have for it. Because, like you say, there's nothing fucking better than doing this. Nothing better at all. I could soon be back in a...
there is something better though, unfortunately. There's racing bikes just over there.
But I can't do that. See? Those that can do. Those that don't sit here and talk about it. I mean, last time, I think this, the penultimate time that I rode round here, I crashed at Coppice. So...
yeah, that's not good.
No, it wasn't. But it was my lack of ability that did it. It wasn't because I was going too fast. It was my lack of ability in understanding what was going on before it was skyground. And all I could see was Levi Day chuckling away to himself, going off down the back straight. We didn't have these last time we sat down, coming up 2 years ago. And you've been on the show in between times with Sam, your trainer. You did 3 shows with Sam, which have always been enlightening and entertaining, having you both in. But it's nice to have you back on by yourself. We haven't done these questions with you yet.
Right.
So would you prefer odd or even?
Even.
Even number. That's usually popular. I don't know why. Maybe it's a thing for riders. Not many of them like odd numbers. It's an even number.
I've never raced, I don't think, at any point with a odd number. I did. Not by choice, though. At Navarra at round 1. In Supersport.
In the Supersport bike.
They give me number 3, and I turned up and I was like, why is it number 3? And they're like, oh, someone has 74. I'm like, couldn't have had something different.
174?
Like, oh, we've got it now. Anyway.
Oh. But you didn't do any harm,
But it
did
was
it?
all right. It's all right.
You did a good job out
That's
there.
maybe the reason I didn't win. That's why I finished 2nd and 3rd.
You did.
Maybe if I'd have had 74, I might have won. Or an even number, I might have
An even one, yeah, an even number you might have won, yeah. Because you've been chasing Ben and Luke down as well. So,
Yeah.
But to be fair, it wasn't a bad effort, was it?
No,
First time out on the
I'll take
Dakar. It was all right. You've missed out on the what's your most embarrassing moment question, so that's all right. What's the one thing you wish you'd enjoyed more?
What's the one thing I would what? Enjoy?
The one thing that you wished you'd enjoyed more when you look back?
That's just, I don't think there is anything.
Knowing your character, I don't think there is either.
Like, I literally enjoy every second, I really do, and I try and make sure it's that way all the time. Like, times when, for a split second, I'm not fully enjoying myself, I'm not happy, I remind myself, and I'm like, my life is sick. I get to live my dream, racing motorbikes, like, and then I'm enjoying myself again. So
I kind of expect there's no right or wrong answers to these questions, by the way, and that's kind of what I expected when I read the question. Who do you admire most from another sport?
Ooh, from another sport, a lot of people, like so many people. All my heroes really growing up were motocross riders, because I grew up off-road and riding motocross, racing motocross. So my childhood hero is Jeremy McGrath. Just still, like, now, like, he was meant to come to the TT last year with Monster, and it didn't happen. I was crushed. I was actually devastated. Like, I was giddy like a child when I heard that he was coming, and then he didn't come.
And you got Channing Tatum instead.
Yeah, it's not the same.
It's not the same anywhere, is it? No, I agree completely. When was the last time you changed your opinion on someone or something?
Oh. No, people change my opinion. I change my opinion of people, like, I guess quite often, because with anyone, like, it doesn't matter what people would say about other people. Like, I try and take everyone as they are as a person. So I would like anyone, and I'm friends with anybody until they give me a reason not to. So then usually when they give me a reason not to, then
that's where it is. Because it can be a positive or a negative question. I never even realised that.
Yeah, I'm trying to, yeah. It's definitely both ways. In fact, to speak of recent, I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say it. Saying I was friends with Adam McLean, but
it's understandable.
No, we'll be all right, I'm sure.
Eventually.
I've had a week to cool off. Give me another few months, I'm sure we'll be all right.
Maybe next year.
Maybe
next year. We'll see. What's your best chat up line, Davey?
I'll get a Balkan if I start bringing them out. Then this is going to say who you using them on.
Hi Abby, love you.
I don't need chat off lines. I have a beautiful girlfriend.
Perfectly put. You and me both.
Yeah,
you and me both. Not that I don't. Nobody could. It's Jennifer that gets the people running up to her in a car park saying they're the most beautiful girl she's ever seen, and they'd like to take her out for dinner, until she tells them that, sorry, I'm spoken for.
Did you? You didn't go out? Oh,
it wasn't you.
No.
Who's the most famous person you found?
There's quite a lot actually, but John McGuinness, like
fair.
I think that's I forget all the time, like how he's just like the biggest legend in bike racing, isn't he?
Yeah.
Like for me, before I knew, growing up when I was a kid, like, two motorbike racers, Valentino Rossi and John McGuinness. Like, and I didn't
100%.
even really know as a kid what the TT, what I did, like, because my dad explained it, but I didn't really, and I didn't know a whole lot about anything on tarmac, but Valentino Rossi and John McGuinness. So yeah, you just forget that now. He's got to be there.
I would agree. This is probably another one for Abby. Who's your celebrity crush?
We're not allowed to say that. I don't know really.
We'll gloss over that one. It's fine, not a problem. But then I didn't know when you asked me. With Jennifer behind the camera, I don't really know who my celebrity crush is either. Huh?
Wonder Woman.
That just shows my age, Wonder Woman, doesn't it? But the original one, not the latest one.
Oh jeez.
The original one from the late
Probably getting on a bit
70s.
now.
She is a bit now. Well, aren't we all?
I don't know. Someone.
Linda Carter.
Rachel from Friends. Jennifer.
Yeah, Jennifer Aniston.
Jennifer Aniston.
Yeah.
Was always.
I think that's the right thing. That's the right thing. This one I'm looking forward to. You're on your own. You're in the van. Music's turned up to 11.
Always.
What are you listening to, Davey?
Country music every time. Such a range of stuff. Like, it changes differently, but now even my pre-race music is like, there's a playlist on Apple Music called Fifth Gear, and it's like country rock, so it's like angry country music. So that's what I listen to like before riding and stuff. It gets me like a bit more ramped up.
You introduced me to Hardy.
Hardy is pretty much like a lot of the songs on that playlist.
You introduced me to him because it was on one of your reels that you'd done, and I'm like, wow, I mean, we love Morgan Wallen, we love Luke Combs and Bailey Zimmerman and the rest of them.
Yeah.
But Hardy is like something different.
Yeah.
And
Hardy's
very, very.
He's that like bit rocky, bit
Yeah.
like angry, like.
Bit of Jelly Roll.
Jelly Roll as well. What's is it Post Malone and Morgan Wallen, they just
Yeah.
released that new song. I love that. I absolutely love that. That is a tune. I've been smashing that. Over and over and over again. I think, and Abby's getting really sick of hearing the song, but I just can't stop listening to it. I put YouTube on and I'm like, oh, it suggested that song to me. I'm going to have to listen to it again.
You can just play it one more time. That segues nicely into a question from one of our patrons, from Maggie Day. Thank you, Maggie. Maggie wants to know where your love for country music comes from.
I really don't know. I so long. Before it was like, I'm not going to be one of those people. I liked that before it was popular, but like, I don't know, 10, 15 years ago now, like when all my mates, everybody I knew would like laugh at me and take the mickey that I liked country music, but I really don't know where it's come from. I think I heard a song maybe on like it'll have been on like a motocross video for some reason at some point. I was like, I really like that, and then listened to that, and then another country song, and then you're like, I really like this, and now I'm obsessed in country music.
Nothing wrong with that. We were at Bailey Zimmerman on Monday night.
No way.
That was brilliant.
Where was the invite?
We could only get 2 tickets. And the guy that supported him, a guy called Josh Ross,
Yeah.
super
class.
Very, very good. Next time he plays, we'll go.
Well, that'd be all right.
I'll book the
2 years'
tickets.
time, yeah.
I'll book the tickets. You come with us.
Deal. I'm in.
Good man. We can do that. Last question on that front. If you could jump into a pool of anything, what would it be?
Ooh.
This is one of Jennifer's questions.
That's weird, eh? I don't know.
Depending on how your mind works, yeah.
Yeah, I keep wanting to just say water because that's normal, but Skittles. Yeah, I do like sweets.
Haribo, bit softer.
Like
When you can swallow, wouldn't
wouldn't
you?
go
You'd be
into
better, and it'd be way out the other side of it.
like I was trying to think of there, like maybe gin and tonic or something.
That'll do.
Ooh.
You like a gin
Yeah,
and tonic,
yeah,
don't you?
nice little gin.
You do like a nice little gin and tonic.
Yeah.
2 questions to finish. First one's in 2 parts. What's your favourite corner and why?
Whatever, like any track,
Any
corner.
track that you've ever ridden, any corner that you've ever been round.
That's TT corner for sure.
Yeah.
Although Station at Northwest I love, but that's like a TT corner really. So like Balagari and DJs, I forgot what the other name for it is, but the next left-hander, which is like flat in 6th
Past the church, next left.
before Crosby.
Yeah.
But also like a few on the mountain, like 32nd milestone is unreal. Like so many corners. There's probably 100 corners that I absolutely love around the TT. So
Davey, they're corners
one.
that are that. And for the audio listeners, it's like I'm holding 2 coconuts. They're the kind of corners, aren't they?
yeah, I like them big corners. Big corners is what I like, because then like really tight, slow, scratchy corners I've never really liked and never suit my style. We got really big, fast corners. Like that is ones that usually people go, I'm scared. Like I don't like that corner. That's terrifying. Turn 1 at Navarra. Every rider was coming in at Navarra, been like, oh, turn 1's scary, isn't it? Like, oh, it's a bit sketchy. I'm like, I absolutely love turn 1. Best corner on the track, hands down.
Who was we talking to about that? Was it Ryan? I can't remember who said, but you could see the timesheets. At the top of the timesheets were all the roads boys, because they're like, wait, let's some of this, because we ain't breaking until we're way past that. This is our kind of corner. You don't get them. You don't get them too often in BSB. Now I'm not sure about this one. Knowing your character as I do, I'm not sure whether this is your kind of thing. But what's your best hire car story, Davey?
Ooh.
I nearly gave you a get out then.
Nah, I actually do. I actually do have one, and I was driving, but it's not my fault. So
Caveat.
I won't name anyone, but when I was doing IRRC in 2019, and my 3 other teammates in the car at the time, and we decided we weren't going to take all our high cars. I'll just drive and drive everyone back. So there was like me and my 3 other teammates. Like, yeah. Sure enough, anyway, we're driving down this road, and it's the first time that I'd ever, shows that I've never had a nice car in my life, but like first time I drove a car that had lane assist and also like adaptive cruise, where it like brakes and accelerates for you and like goes around corners and everything. You like, it steers itself. So I was like mind blown by this. So I came into the on and I was like, guys, this car's insane. Like, it actually goes around corners, it steers itself. Like, it's unbelievable. Like, and I was like, and I think a few of them were like, all right, nice one, yeah. Like, they've obviously had a car like that before. And like, I thought this was like brand new, never been seen before. And a few of them were like, oh, really? Like, asked a few questions and whatever else. Anyway, we're in the hire car on the way back to the hotel, probably going relatively quick, and we're on one of these roads. It was in Germany, in Freiburg in Germany, and on them roads, do you know, you get a lot in Europe, usually in like Holland and stuff, where the roads like built up and there's like 6-foot drops either side down to fields,
especially in Holland.
Yeah. So we're like motoring along anyway along this like single carriageway, and I'm like, look guys, like turn this thing on, and I'm like, look at like just these real like gentle corners and stuff, and like, look, it steers itself, man, like incredible. And then they're like, all right, show us again, and I like, right, turn it on, right, I turn the thing on, and I'm like, right, wait for it, and next thing, the guy behind me grabbed me, like, took his seatbelt, like, grabbed me from behind, like, yanked my arms back, so I'm like this, behind the seat, but also, like, yeah, I couldn't reach the pedals as well. Like, he pulled me that far, like, back, that I actually, like, my feet couldn't reach the pedals, and my hands couldn't reach the steering wheel, so he was like, now we'll see if it really works. And there was, like, a tight, not tight, but like tighter than I would like for it to go around. And honestly, I like freaked out. I was like, no, it's just, like, you need to let go of me. And he was like, no, we're going to see if it really works. And sure enough, it actually went around the corner, but I thought we were dead. Like, it would have been bad. Like,
yeah, it's going to roll over and you're going to be squashed.
Jumped totaled off this big drop off the side of the road anyway. But, geez, yeah, it was one of probably the scariest moments of my life, because I don't really get scared riding a motorbike because you're in control. At this, the control was completely out of me, and it's not comfortable.
What a way to finish. I mean, that's one of the best hire car stories I think we've had, because you admitted that you were driving but not driving, which is never ideal. Mate, we wish you all the best for the rest of this weekend. But most importantly, we wish you all the best for the TT. We want to see you back on that box, as high up that box as you can get. We'll be over there for practice week. We'll come and say hello, but we'll be cheering you on from home, mate. Ladies and gentlemen, Davey Todd.
This one.
That one. Not the other one.